The leadership of the Community Renewal Team says the public should think of them as an anti-poverty organization.
We're serving young children in our preschool programs here in Hartford. We serve the homeless, we serve veterans. We do a big behavioral health services program.
And perhaps the largest segment of the population they serve, seniors.
We both have an assisted living facility in Hartford called The Retreat, and that's home to 100 seniors who live there.
And CRT operates the Meals on Wheels program for all of Central Connecticut.
Thousands of meals a day that are going out from our main offices here in Hartford on Windsor Street.
And with this constant contact, they're mandating that all of their employees be vaccinated against COVID.
Jason, how many CRT employees do you have to be vaccinated?
Right. So CRT employs around 400 people. And the goal, of course, is to get to 100%.
Yesterday, CRT hosted a vaccination clinic at their Windsor Street headquarters for eligible staff.
Roughly 50 people on staff did receive the vaccine yesterday, which was very exciting.
And they say they understand that there's going to be some hesitancy among employees.
Maybe they have a medical reason for why they don't want to do it, or perhaps they have a religious reason.
The agency's HR department will have private conversations with those individuals. Among their clients, 3 preschool sites in Hartford.
We've been getting inquiries from the parents of the children who've been saying, is the staff, are the teachers vaccinated?
While 90% of teachers and staff in these preschools have received the first dose of the vaccine, no word yet on what percentage of their overall employees have complied. I'm Tony Terzi, Fox 61 News.